Good morning, Wake and Takers. How are we doing? 2 minutes late today. It's just that kind of week right now. Been fighting some of the technology going on and just, we're here. It's Thursday, October 16th. Appreciate you guys for joining me here on Wake and Take. As always, just going to make sure that I get this out there. Please go ahead and make sure you're following, subscribe to the Player Profiler Now YouTube page and over at Twitter as well, if that's where you're watching. Make sure you got the notifications turned on so that way you get to know every single Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m., same time, same place. But just in case you forget, you get that little notification and you can join us here every single time, every single show. Thank you guys for being here. My name is Justin. I am the LordO Games. You can find me at Twitter or on Twitter at JOwens_FF. Also started putting out a lot more content over on TikTok at JOwensFF over there. Welcome in, guys. It is the Thursday show. It is my favorite show of the week because I get a lot from you guys. I get a lot from the chat here asking your questions. As always, I bring my own start sits based off of what I see compared to the Fantasy Pros ECR rankings. And I just like to bring you where I differ from them in terms of guys that I'm higher on, guys that I'm lower on, and just like those middling guys. And of course, as always on Thursday, it's time for the espresso shot. And I got a piping hot espresso shot. I went with the double shot this time. It's going to be, you're going to want to stick around for the espresso shot today because I felt like I can't write this down. I can't bring this to anybody because it's a little crazy. It's a little out there. It's a little crazy, but I mean, sometimes you just need the crazy. Sometimes you need the crazy, and there's a lot on this slate for this week where I'm like, there feels like a lot of obvious answers, and there also feels like a lot of obvious starts, a lot of obvious sits. But I feel like what I'm bringing here is going to be a little bit in between that, where if you're a little bit hesitant, if you're a little bit desperate, this is the play for you this week. Sorry about that. Had an absolute brain fart right there. But we got the Thursday night game tonight. It's not really looking like it's going to be an exciting one. I got a feeling. I know I feel this way every time with the AFC North, where I'm like, I get it. Like, yes, the AFC North is going to be a defensive battle, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't see the defensive battle here. And then every time they go out and it's a defensive battle and a quiet, boring AFC North game. But I'm still thinking that we can see some points here tonight. The Cincinnati Bengals just on both sides of the ball, looking like no Trey Hendrickson tonight. Joe Flacco at the helm, finally at quarterback with a full week of practice now. So it's not just like him coming in on a Tuesday or a Wednesday trying to get ready for Sunday. He's had a full week. He's already kind of shown that he knows what to do with the ball in Cincinnati. You go to Chase, you go to Higgins. So I think that that's going to help us get some fantasy points here. And then, like I said, on the flip side, the Cincinnati defense is just awful. It's not good. It's not good against the run. It's not good against the pass. It's not good against anything. And honestly, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to disappoint in prime time. He's, egomaniac who wants to see people talking about him. So I got a feeling we see Aaron Rodgers try to air it out a little bit more too. We see some shots to DK Metcalf. And in terms of just like the running backs, I'm going to talk about the Cincinnati running backs a little bit later, so I'll hold on to those for now. But in terms of the Pittsburgh running backs, I don't know. The matchup screams to start like Jaylen Warren, and I don't know if I can do it. Obviously, I feel like you have to because options are very slim out there. But if you don't have to, I don't know if I fully would. I got a weird feeling about this one tonight. I don't even know how to explain it because, like I said, the data, the numbers, everything says Jaylen Warren's going to be perfectly fine tonight. And you know what? He probably will be. But I don't know. There's something about this team. There's something about Jaylen Warren this year that just feels like a trap on a weekly basis. He had before the injury, you're sitting there like usage going up. This feels good. And then he goes down week 3, week 4 is the Kenny Gainwell blow up. And then week 5 by week 6, Jaylen Warren gets stuffed repeatedly, but he doesn't get the passing work. Kenny Gainwell got 6 targets that game, and Jaylen Warren was kind of sprinkled in the passing game. They even got Caleb Johnson involved last week. So I I know that like I said, I know that the snaps and the opportunities more lean towards Jaylen Warren. So that's if you're going to start a Pittsburgh running back, that's where you got to go. But I just, like I said, there's just something in the gut that's saying like, I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think about Jaylen Warren tonight. Let me know what you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers in general tonight, because I feel like I said, it's a plus matchup, and this is always like Cincinnati's been a get right game for a lot of these teams in the past couple of weeks. So I think that we see that continue, especially, like I said, primetime Thursday night football. It is obviously a short week for these guys because of the fact that they're playing on the Thursday. So we usually see a little bit more of a watered down game plan. But I mean, I don't think that's more or that's any less than what we need for fantasy points in this matchup here. Not like I said, nothing too crazy here. You're starting DK, you're starting Jamar Chase, and those are like the two must starts. And we're just hoping that the icy hot bowl delivers here. We got two very, very old quarterbacks, so we're not going to see a lot of rushing out of these guys. We're going to see we could see though, a combined 80 pass attempts out of both of these guys, even maybe a little bit higher than that. It really depends on Pittsburgh, and it really depends on how well Cincinnati hangs in it tonight. You gotta hope that there's some life here with Flacco. So we will see. But that's for tonight. Gonna move on to the news, and then we also got the full Sunday, Monday slate to go over in terms of my starts and sits. Like I said, always, guys, bring me your questions. Bring me your start sits. I love answering those on the spot here. It's really what makes the Thursday show fun out here. Another point, on Sunday, I do also have the TikTok live that I'm going to be doing on my own profile at JOwensFF, and I'm also looking to still working through the technical side of it because I'm not a youngin. I'm young, but not that young in terms of operating TikTok. So still looking to work my way around that to get the player profiler and my page co-hosting this thing. So that way, no matter where you're viewing it on TikTok, you can go ahead and get the Sunday immediate breakdown on the Throne Room Sunday nights. Usually trying to go live around halftime of the Sunday night game. So looking to stick around that schedule there. But going to be jumping into the news here. First up is as always, the injury news. We got our Wednesday reports coming in, and we'll see the Thursday reports start to roll in. But the noteworthy things in my mind this week is Chuba Hubbard is back again at practice as a limited participant right now. He looks great according to coaches and beat reporters. So I do expect that we see Chuba this week. Obviously, we still got 3 more days of practice to go through. So we'll see how he continues to progress and if he can feel good enough to get out there. But I still think even if Chuba Hubbard is out there in week 7 against the New York Jets, I do believe that we're going to see at least a 60-40 split in terms of Rico Dowdle over Chuba Hubbard. This first game back is always, I feel like, especially with the running back, especially with the type of injury that he's dealing with, I feel like you just got to kind of take it a little bit slower. We could see kind of like Scatabo and Tyrone Tracy, just a little bit more involvement out of Chuba because Chuba was the primary back before the injury. So I still think you have to stick with Rico Dowdle. You cannot. The dude's put up 2 30-point games, 2 200-yard games. You can't just go from starting that guy and being overly confident in him to just saying, like, don't care. At worst, I'm calling for a 50-50 split here between Chuba and Dowdle. Like I said, this first game back, I think that we're still going to see Dowdle be the lead back, be the primary option, and the game plan is going to revolve more around him. Also because the Panthers know in their game planning that Rico's healthy, Rico's ready, Rico can handle it. And we're still kind of waiting and seeing on Chuba Hubbard. So really think that Dowdle's a great play this week right now. I think you could go ahead and stick with him pretty good. You shouldn't be afraid to start him. Where is he fallen into the rankings today? Rico Dowdle, yeah, RB10 still. So yeah, a lot of the consensus rankers feel the same way there, where it's still Rico time, and just keep your eye on Chuba, and we'll keep an eye on if Chuba does play, what the involvement looks like this week. But another good matchup, another good spot here for Rico Dowdle. I don't think it's going to be, obviously, I'm not calling for a 30-point game once again, but still think that we're going to see very, very good fantasy numbers out of Rico Dowdle. No surprise here in this next bit, but Emeka Egbuka officially ruled out of Monday Night Football. So that is Godwin, Egbuka, and Bucky Irving all officially ruled out for Monday Night Football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions, and just absolute juicy matchup. I still can't believe that the over-under is over 50 points, 52.5 points last I checked for this Tampa-Detroit game, which is crazy with the just amount of injuries that Tampa Bay has, that they're still looking to be in this just absolute shootout. It's 4.5 points in favor of the Detroit Lions. So it's not like that's still a very high point total, 24 point total implied for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like I said, that's crazy. There's some winning team, like some favored teams out here that don't even have that winning total, or that point total, expected point total. We got a lot of 23s out there, some 22s and some 21s even. So I do think that that's the correct way to go about it here. Is Tampa's going to be, which is why the shootout won't happen. I mean, honestly, I could see it, but I could also, like, the Detroit secondary is so banged up that if it's not Hutch, and we're supposed to be getting Aleem McNeil back this week in Detroit. So if they don't pressure Baker, I don't see how Baker doesn't get it done with this ragtag team of guys that are out there. Also, we did see Mike Evans is slated to practice this today. Is the report that I saw this morning. Is they're expecting Evans to practice. Does that mean he plays? I don't think he comes back this week. They got the bye coming up, not too far away, but I mean, they're desperate right now in terms of just needing people out there. Obviously, they get the cushion of being 5-1. So if they do drop this game against the Lions, I don't think they're going to be too upset about it. They're still very much in control of the NFC South. Detroit signed some players, but they won't have the same scrubs. I feel like it's tough though to like sign some guys and just like throw them in there, especially against like a guy like Baker. Like there's not the cohesiveness. So I still think that we see. I think we see it. I do think we see a shootout because, again, it's also Detroit coming off of a loss. We know Dan Campbell doesn't like to take a loss. The Detroit Lions locker room doesn't like to take a loss. So I think they're going to come out and put some points up. And I think Tampa's going to be able to respond. I don't think it's going to be Tampa putting the pressure on Detroit, but I think it's going to be the flip side of that. And I do think that Baker's going to at least get it done to make it a fun game. But we'll see. We'll see, Alex. I'll might have to hit you up on Sleeper, and we might have to make a little bit of a friendly wager there. Mask. Don't know if I do Dynasty. I do sprinkle in the Dynasty football, Dynasty fantasy as well. You're being offered Devonta Smith and a 2027 first for Pickens. Is that an automatic accept? Yeah. I would take that 100%. Even if it's a late first, that's a very good deal there. Pickens is being propped up right now by the fact that there is no CeeDee Lamb, but Pickens doesn't have a contract right now. Pickens is playing on a 1-year deal, and yes, he's going to go ahead and get a ton of money next season, but we don't know where that's going to be. So the situation is uncertain. I love the talent, but in terms of Pickens versus Smith, I feel like they're very close in terms of talent. Pickens is just in the better situation right now, and in Dynasty, I make my decisions based off of talent. If I'm not a super contender, like this is my one window right now, I would 100% take that trade of Smith and a 27 first for Pickens. The fact that it's not even next year, like this team could fall off that you're taking the first from, and it becomes a very early first round pick in 2027. And then that becomes the biggest win of all time. So yes, absolutely. I would do that trade. Like I said, unless this is my 1-year window, like I know next year my team's going to be just garbage and this is my one shot to take the ship, I might just hold Pickens for that. But it's still just too good of a deal for me to really pass up there. Flip it back over. We got some more news though. In terms of Minnesota and the Philadelphia Eagles game, we have updates from the Minnesota quarterbacks coming out of the bye. Wentz was a full participant, so he seems like he's ready to go if needed. JJ McCarthy is limited at practice. He's at practice, which is good to see. But in talks with the media, he's still not 100% is what the word is. I'm not sure that we see JJ McCarthy get tossed back out there with an injured ankle against Philadelphia off of 2 losses. Philadelphia's defense is getting healthier. So I think that we might see one more week of Carson Wentz out there. Plus, I mean, who doesn't love the good narratives of the Carson Wentz revenge game here against Philadelphia? Could be fun. And I think that it might just be the better shot for Minnesota if McCarthy's ankle isn't 100%. I think that we've seen that McCarthy is a little bit better being on the move, moving the pocket, moving his feet, picking up yards with his legs. So if he's not 100% on the ankle, or at least close enough to where he feels good enough to talk about it confidently, I think that we might just see one more week of Wentz here. I don't think Minnesota's in panic mode. I don't think they need to get JJ McCarthy back out there and risk damaging his ankle or his confidence anymore. So I do think that we see one more week of Wentz. We get the revenge game, and it could be interesting. I mean, Philadelphia is on a little bit of a slide right now, and Wentz hasn't Wentz hasn't been good. Wentz hasn't been great, but he hasn't been terrible. He's made a lot of bad throws and thrown a lot of interceptions, but he's also kept Minnesota in games. He's set them up for opportunities to win. So I think that continues, and that's just what we're going to see here coming out of the bye. I think that the next week is when we see JJ McCarthy make his return here. And like I said, they're coming out the bye, so like they don't have, like, if he's not 100% coming out the bye, that's a little bit concerning in terms of getting him back out there. Yeah, there's a Thursday night game for Minnesota following this week. So week 8 is Minnesota at the Chargers on a Thursday night game. I got a feeling that might be when we see JJ McCarthy. If not then definitely week 9 in Detroit. So it's a tough sledding. It's a tough stretch of games here for Minnesota. We'll see what they're really feeling if they want to make the push this year with JJ McCarthy out there. They might just try to get him out there, but I got a feeling that we see a little bit more of a cautious wait and see method here with Wentz and McCarthy. And I think that right now this is going to be a better option this week, at least for Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I'm not going to mention TJ Hawkinson. Name does not exist for me in the tight end pool anymore. We got some more Cardinal running back injuries that have been rolling in. Bam Knight was limited with a knee injury, and this is just another one of those things. Like, it was a Wednesday practice, so not gonna buy too much into it, but something to definitely monitor, because I mean the Cardinals have just been having the worst luck with running back injuries, and here we go. I mean, James Conner out for the season. Trey Benson steps in and immediately goes down, and we're like back again where it was Michael Carter, DeMarcado fumbles out the end zone. Michael Carter seems like he's going to be the one. And then Bam Knight takes over, and then Bam Knight's injured. So it's just like, what the hell is happening in the Arizona running back room? Like, I just don't understand. DeMarcado also injured. So really keep a close eye on Bam Knight here. Obviously, if Bam misses, they're going to sign someone to bring him in, but it wheels up for Michael Carter in terms of a volume-based flex play if it is just him in this backfield. So keep an eye there with Arizona. Might have to make a plug and pray moment with Michael Carter. More quarterback injuries flipping over to the San Francisco side. Brock Purdy and Mac Jones both returned limited in practice. We know we've been without Purdy for 4 out of 6 games this year, or this week. This year, not this week. 4 to 6 games this year. Mac Jones has come in and he's looked good at times. He's looked bad at times. He's also been playing injured, so that factors into it. But Mac Jones, when healthy or feeling good enough, has been more than good, more than all right. They're great. The reports are saying that Jones does look closer to being good compared to Purdy. Purdy, I fully expect to be missing another week here. They're another team that's got a little bit of cushion here, like Tampa, where they don't need to rush Purdy back. They can let him heal up, especially with how well Mac Jones has been playing. It's not like it's Baltimore where it's just looks like a completely different, miserable team out there without Lamar. San Francisco's looked like they can still keep chugging with Mac Jones. We also might be seeing George Kittle come back. He's been limited at practice. We're still waiting to see what his workload's going to look like. But I mean, just getting him back on the field at all is going to be amazing. It's going to completely relegate Jake Tongs. But I don't think it's going to be a full back to 100% George Kittle. So we could see a little bit of a slow roll here. We also have Juwan Jennings, also limited, but he's got another injury added to his long list. It's the ankle, it's the shoulder, and then the ribs were added in once again here for Juwan Jennings. We saw Jennings played a good, like a majority of the snaps. He was up there in the top 2 in terms of San Francisco wide receiver snap percentage, but he only had the 3 targets, and he's not healthy. He's trying to play through it. He's trying his best, but we did also see Juwan Jennings and Kyle Shanahan getting into a little bit of a spat on the sideline where Jennings is having to be held back while Shanahan's trying to make calls for the game. So we know Shanahan's a petty little man sometimes, and he does not care. I mean, he paid Brandon Ayuk. He will pay Brandon Ayuk and then tell him to sit on the bench because that's how he operates. He thinks his system is what makes these guys, and it's not good. It's not good that Jennings has already been struggling with injuries and performance, and then to have the coach not be on your side, that's just not something that I'm looking to hold on to. He's one of those guys where he's getting to roster clogger status for me, and I got no problem dropping him right now. If there's a better option on your waiver wire, and again with Mac Jones looking to get another start this week, Kendrick Bourne, fire him up. Pearsall's still not practicing. Like I said, Jennings and Kittle still limited. Like Kendrick Bourne and Mac Jones are just they're locked in right now. They are there. They are just mind melded quarterback wide receiver from probably their time in New England. So dude's been doing nothing but balling out ever since he got kind of implemented into the system here. System. So yeah, if it's Mac again this week, I'm definitely comfortable starting Kendrick Bourne as a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Especially like I said, with the fact that Jennings is probably in the doghouse. Jennings is injured. Kittle isn't going to be. I do not think that they bring Kittle back and have him do 100% snaps right away. That's asking for a re-injury on a hamstring like that. So I do think that Kendrick Bourne is a great start this week. We have some rumors out there that we're going to cover as well. The first one, I don't even know why this was like reported or like whatever, but I'm going to bring it to you guys. Rashee Rice is reported to be in line for a heavy workload. Duh. It's very clear that the wide receiver room has been a problem for Kansas City all year. We've seen Tyquan Thornton step it up. We've seen Hollywood Brown step it up at certain times. We've seen even Juju Smith-Schuster step it up at certain times, but there has not been consistency week to week. And I think that's exactly what Rashee Rice is going to bring. Obviously, Xavier Worthy dinged up, dealing with injuries, been having a hard time stay healthy even through his healthy weeks. He's back. He's still beat up. So that's why we haven't seen the consistency out of Worthy here in Rice's absence. But Rice is back. He's not coming back from a major injury. He was ready to, like I said, on Tuesday, he was ready to go on week 1 of this year. The suspension came in. So he's had 6 extra weeks of recovery from his knee injury from last season. It's going to be Rashee Rice. It's going to be Rashee Rice often. It's going to be Rashee Rice all day against the Vegas Raiders. This is the perfect sky is clearing moment for Kansas City's offense right now. They come off a big win against Detroit. They get Vegas at home in the ultimate get gelling, get the offense feeling right, feeling good type of game. And I mean, I don't see a reason that Patrick Mahomes doesn't just pepper Rashee Rice with like 10 to 12 targets. We very easily could see that. We could also see them try to get the running game going a little bit because the running game has been just gross. Not banking on that because who the hell do you start out of those 3 running backs? Like I said, I've been sticking with Kareem Hunt as if I'm going to start a Kansas City running back, it's Kareem Hunt, just because he's getting the red zone work, but I mean, it's gross all around out there. We also got a lot of trade whispers happening right now. No real movement, no real, oh, it's happening. We're just waiting for the deal to get done. But New England, New York Giants, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, I have been seeing are actively in the market for a wide receiver right now. Of course, the Steelers are in the market for the wide receiver after getting rid of Pickens. Just laughable, in my opinion, what the Pittsburgh Steelers have become. Oh my God. I wonder if my audio has been bad because my microphone is across the desk. Whoops. Sorry about that if the audio quality was not good. Went ahead and fixed that. Like I said, guys, been dealing with some technical difficulties all week, and it just continues to roll here. But like I said, we're here. It's week 7. Going to go ahead and, while I got to pause here. Alex, it was good. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I wasn't too quiet because it was, like I said, all the way across the desk, and this microphone's a little finicky. So appreciate the feedback there. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me in check. But yeah, so as I was saying, trade whispers going all around with New England Patriots, New York Giants, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, all actively in the market for a wide receiver. As we talked about on Tuesday, Alex, I'm also hoping Buffalo is involved in these whispers, especially with Josh Palmer being gone, Keon Coleman not quite making that year 2 leap that I hoped for, and Khalil Shakir has been good, not great, but that's Khalil Shakir. That's the slot role that he plays. It's good, not great. So hoping that we see some movement here with Buffalo, hoping we see some movement here. Honestly, the Giants would be a good one too. They could use a good second outside guy outside of Neighbors for even next year. So they can bring in someone and do a long-term deal. New England as well. Diggs great. Booty doing booty things on occasion, but then outside of that, Pop Douglas barely see in the field. Mac Hollins is not a long-term option. So I think that all of these teams are very much needing a wide receiver that can be signed for the future, except for maybe the Steelers. I don't know. Like, I get it. They're at the top of the AFC North right now with Aaron Rodgers. So that's a 1 year, 2 year window max. So I get them trying to maximize it, but I just don't know of who's going to want to go to Pittsburgh for that short of a window, unless they're just desperate to get out. So, and in hopes there, the names that we've kind of heard being tossed around in terms of who can be on the move, Chris Olave out of New Orleans. Jalen Waddle was kind of a surprising one for me because I feel like I guess because he's going to be due for the contract and everything, but Jalen Waddle feels like a guy that, if you don't have Tyreek Hill, you're clearly not bringing Tyreek Hill back. If they get rid of Jalen Waddle, Miami's going burn the damn thing to the ground and start from scratch type deal, which means Tua would be out, in my opinion. Achane could be on the move as well. Like, it just seems like they're going to, if Waddle gets traded, they're going full burn it to the ground, rebuild from the foundation up type deal. Jacoby Myers is another name. We know he requested the trade at the beginning of the season, and clearly Vegas is not anywhere near where they think they were going to be with Geno Smith. So Jacoby Myers could be another name on the move. And I haven't seen the name thrown around other than just absolute rumors. Like, it hasn't been like a Shefty tweet or anything like that. But like we talked about on Tuesday, DJ Moore, I would love to see him go somewhere that he gets back to DJ Moore level target share. Right now, he's kind of been playing the 1B fiddle, even like the straight 2 fiddle in terms of targets. And he just hasn't been able to have the production that we like to see out of DJ Moore. So I don't know if it's just he's unhappy, if he's what's going on, but I still think DJ Moore's got the talent to do it. So I just want to see him go somewhere that he feels revitalized, because he just kind of seemed beat down being in Chicago, which, can you blame him? It's Chicago. Obviously, they're on the up and up now, but it might be too little too late for DJ. We did see also, I talked about it on Tuesday, I talked about it on Sunday, the Chargers were calling around, knocking on doors, asking about running backs. I haven't heard any more news about that, so I don't know if Kamani Vidal did enough to kind of just make them be like, we might be okay. We could still see a push for Kamara or Breece Hall. Both of those guys, though, both the teams and the players have said that they want to stay put. Breece Hall maybe didn't quite say that. Breece Hall said that to the media, and then he also posted on Instagram, free 20. So a little bit of mixed signal there from Breece Hall. I do think that he wants out as long as he gets a good contract. It will be interesting to see, though. Obviously, Chargers a good destination for a running back right now with all of the injuries, with Hampton gone, Najee Harris gone. But for now, we have Kamani Vidal as the lead back. We do have Hassan Haskins, and they did sign Jarrett Patterson for depth. It's another thing where it's like Naheem Hines. I don't think that this is like anything indicative of what we're going to see on Sundays, but I think it's just a depth play here to bring in Patterson. And I'm sticking with Vidal as the hot hand. Obviously, with these situations where we were unsure going into it who the next man up was between Vidal and Haskins, we could see that flip just like that. At the snap of a finger, it could flip to Haskins over Vidal with a fumble, with a bad game, a bad block assignment, something along those lines could immediately flip-flop this in Los Angeles. So we'll keep an eye out. But that's all the news that I got for you guys today. Quite a bit, finally, like not only injury related news. It feels good to talk about things like trades and exciting things like that. I'm looking next week to kind of do a little bit of a rest of season call here to kind of lay out, instead of just focusing on the week that we're in, looking forward, because it's starting to turn into we're getting the feel of where our fantasy teams are in terms of playoff push, desperation, never give up, but like feeling pretty down in the dumps. But we'll take a look next week at some not even buy lows, but just trade targets, like moves to make, guys to feel good about, guys to kind of panic about and make other plans for. So that will be next Tuesday. But looking at this week, we will be moving into these starts and sits. Been a little bit quiet in the chat, so if you guys are feeling like you got any questions that are burning, any start sits, go ahead and start getting those lined up, because we will be going over those. But before we get there, I am going to talk about Fast Draft as always. Love the Fast Draft. I still got to get my my weekly Flex 6 Frenzy draft in there. Again, sticking with the going down to 18 pods instead of the 10-team pods, so even more points. When I do my draft, I'll go ahead and post out who I put in my 2X slot, so you guys can go ahead and avoid him. I'm 2 for 2 on putting guys in my 2X slot and having them go down for injury, so just be warned. But I love the Flex 6 Frenzy. Again, it's super quick. You jump in, you get you pick your 6 guys, 8 teams, 20. So it's 20. Not even. It's 40. I can't do math this morning. Holy cow. 48. 48. 48 picks, just super quick. Bing, bang, boom. 3rd round reversal. So that way, if you're at the back end of the draft, you're not feeling like you got screwed over. But just it's super quick. It's super fun. And honestly, like I said, I like it so much better than doing the DraftKings type salaries where it's you're going up against a bunch of bots that are just plugging in the week into a model and spitting it out, and then they're just max entering. That lost its appeal to me. It's not fun to me anymore to do that. So I like having the draft set up here with the Flex 6 Frenzy. But to talk more about it, I'm going to pass it over to the Podfather.
I know you're sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops, because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, and as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
As always, if you're going to jump into the Fast Draft streets, be sure to use the code JOWENSFF to get a $50 deposit match on your first deposit. I will see you guys in there with the Flex 6 Frenzy. Hopefully, I'm at the top of the leaderboard this time, and I'm not just sitting there with an injured Puka Nacua in my 2X slot. Good morning, Jamie. Welcome in. Math is hard. My wife makes fun of me all the time because my day job, I work in finance. I work with numbers all the time, and I don't know what it is, but the brain just gives up on me when I need to do the simple stuff. And I just always tell my wife, I'm like, look, I work with Microsoft Excel. I work with like, the tools that do the simple stuff for me. So I've kind of just lost the edge there. But it looks like I did get quite a bit in the chat here in terms of some start sits. So let's go ahead before we jump into mine. Let me go ahead and take a peek at your guys's, and we'll get rolling here. Appreciate you guys as always for the involvement. Like I said, makes the Thursday show so much more fun. We got Justin here. Justin to Justin. Should I give up Bijan, Marvin Harrison to get Breece Hall, Brian Thomas, and Jordan Mason? I'm not doing that. Bijan looks too good right now. I know that the Breece BTJ combo looks good, but I think Marvin Harrison's going to be perfectly fine. You're disappointed in some of these games with Kyler, and you're disappointed last week because of the concussion, but I think that he is good enough to hold on there, and Bijan is arguably the RB1 moving forward. Breece Hall, the Jets are seeming to be floundering, and obviously if he gets traded, it could be the boon that he needs. And we are seeing Brian Thomas kind of emerge here, but I don't think I can give up Bijan, the RB1 right now, to bring in a lesser package. I'm sticking with the best player in that deal right there with Bijan. Good morning, Bill, over on Facebook. What's up? What's up, Facebook? How we doing? Bill, Jaden Blue. I think Jaden Blue is a great stash. Jaden Blue is an absolute stash play right now. Just because this Dallas offense is cruising, like they put up points, and yeah, we did see a little bit of a down week from Javonte, but I feel like that more had to just do with the way that the game went and the fact that, like I talked about it, the Dallas offensive line is beat up. They are definitely beat up. So I do think we see the efficiency for Javonte go down, but it's still his backfield. He's still, I mean, looking at it here, 21 opportunities in the last game compared to 5 between Lupke, who is a fullback, and Jaden Blue got 3 carries for nothing. So definitely stashing Jaden Blue if you got the roster spot, but not anyone that I am feeling overly confident in anytime soon. With next week is one of the bipocalypses that we're going to be seeing. He's probably not someone that you're going to hold on to, so don't feel the need to hold on to him there. But if you got an open spot, he's a good stash. Justin, once again, we got Henderson or Charbonnet this week. Oh, I mean, Charbonnet is getting the consistent work right now, but it's ugly. But he's obviously the more likely to get a touchdown. I would say that we could expect to see more Henderson, but we thought that last week too, and it wasn't there. I probably lean Charbonnet, but I don't feel good either way. If you like, no, it's going to be Charbonnet for me no matter what on that. If we do see Henderson turn it around and he finally starts to get more snaps and opportunities, great. But I don't think I can plug him into my lineup anymore until I see it. Until I see just like a positive trend in terms of snaps, just even snaps. It's very much been Ramondre. Whereas Sharps has at least been in a 50-50 split with Ken Walker. And yeah, I get it. It's not been pretty, but if they're running in a touchdown in the red zone, it's Charbonnet. So I think you got a better shot at a touchdown with Charbonnet. You got a better shot at a floor with Charbonnet. Obviously, Henderson's the exciting name, but I'm sticking with Sharps. We got Dominic. Who do I sit at wide receiver? You got Ladd, Rome. Good Lord. Ladd, Rome, Tet McMillan, and Xavier Worthy. Worthy is the immediate sit for me if you need to sit just one of these guys. If you got to sit 2, that's where things get interesting. If you have to only pick 2 of these guys, ooh, that is a toughie. Let's see. We got the Chargers up against Indy. That's a decent matchup. We don't know where QJ is in terms of health. And Ladd's had 2 hot games in a row. Rome had the bad game, but he's up against New Orleans, which is a great matchup. So you got to start Rome. And T-Mac's also in a good matchup. We got Carolina versus the Jets. That's. I hope you only have to sit 1 here, Dominic, because I'd easily sit Worthy, no problem. If it comes to the other ones between Ladd, T-Mac, and Rome is definitely a start for me just because good matchup, and he's the one every week. I'm probably sitting in that situation. I'm probably sitting T-Mac if I had to. I'd start Lad and Rome if it's start 2. If it's start 3, then I'm loving getting Lad, Rome, and T-Mac in there. I think we just gotta ride the hot hand with Lad. I know T-Mac got the two touchdowns last week, but I just think we're in for more of a shootout scenario with Indianapolis against the Chargers than we are with Carolina against the Jets. We could very much see the Carolina Panthers just go straight. Oh, you just need to sit one? You'll run a Rodriguez. Okay. Sit Worthy. Start the other three. Other 3 absolute smashes. Worthy, banged up, and Rashee Rice coming back. Easy, easy, easy. Whew. Thank you for jumping in and saving me there, because I was really like, the cogs were churning and the coffee was not hitting hard enough for me to pick between Ladd and Tedero McMillan. So yeah. That's a good play. Justin, we got QJ or Debo Samuel this week. Debo, if he is, these guys are both banged up, so it's tough, but I'm sticking with Debo. That I want everybody in this Washington-Dallas game that's playing. So Debo for sure. Obviously, if Debo misses time or QJ misses time, this becomes an easy question for you. Frizz, good morning. How we doing? How you doing? We got a question from you here. Start Justin Herbert or CJ Stroud? Herbert. CJ Stroud does have the good, has a decent matchup here. Seattle is banged up in the secondary position, and we saw teams take advantage of that in the past couple weeks here. But I don't fully trust the Houston offensive line yet to give Stroud the time. And Herbert's going to do Herbert things. Like I said, this is going to be supposed to be a competitive game with Indy here, and I'm just very much in on that. Especially again with no Hampton, no Najee Harris. I don't think that Harbaugh is going to say, let me go ahead and rely on Kamani Vidal here to win a game. He's going to put the ball in Herbert's hands, and that's where you see the magic happen. So sticking with Herbert here. Uncle Ted, we got Juju's. Oh, this is just a statement here. Juju Smith-Schuster has had 20 catches and 249 and has scored 3 touchdowns in 5 games versus the Raiders in his career. That's a fun fact right there, but I'm still not starting Juju Smith-Schuster. Not with Rashee Rice coming back. Dominic, assuming both play, would you come in with another one? Would you start Marvin Harrison or Terry McLaurin this week? I'm going to go with Terry. It feels gross to say that coming off of the injury that's held him out for, 3-4 weeks now? It's scary to put him in there, but the matchup is too good that all it takes is one deep shot here against this gross Dallas secondary, and you're happy you're paid off. And I think that Washington wants to get the offense rolling. They've been so inconsistent, having to bounce between Daniels and Mariota, and then trying to figure out the running back situation, and no McLaurin, Debo banged up. I think that if they get McLaurin and Debo out there, and Daniels, they're gonna want to form a cohesive flow with what the offense is going to look like down the stretch. So if Terry plays, I'm playing Terry right now over Marv. But if it's like a game time decision, I have no problem plugging Marv in there. I think that they're going to be pretty close at the end of the week here. Tough matchup for Marv, but we might see Jacoby back out there, which I think is better for Marv. So it is pretty close. But if McLaurin gets a good chunk of practice in this week, I'm going to go with McLaurin, because that matchup, like I said, 55-point over under that's fun. I want everything in there. Appreciate you guys as always for bringing in your start sit questions. Love it. Gonna jump into some of my own here, as I always do. And like I said, I've been dealing with some technical difficulties. Apologies. So I don't have all of the overlays plugged in. So I will be bouncing back to the start or sit. Very boring logo up here. Gonna work to have it all ironed out for next week, because I've been fighting with this dang thing. But first up is my QB start of the week. It's going to be Matt Stafford at Jacksonville. We were all disappointed last week, myself included. I had Stafford up there as a top 5 quarterback last week, and obviously that was nowhere near happening. I think that's just what happens. We've seen this happen a lot, where the number 1 wide receiver goes down, and the game plan is hard to shift on the fly like that. So Puka Nacua went down in the second quarter last week, and the Rams didn't really need to scramble and fix the game plan to win the game. They had it handedly with the defense and just the lack of competition on the Baltimore side. So I think that Stafford is going to be back in the top, I'm going to say top 7 quarterbacks this week. Right now, he is listed as the consensus QB 14, and that's just, it's too low. That's people overreacting to last week, in my opinion, and the Puka absence. He still has Devontae Adams. Tutu Atwell's back at practice, so very good chance that Tutu is back out there as well. He's got a good connection with Stafford, Adams, and then we still got Tyler Higbee, who's getting healthier week by week. We got Jordan Whittington, who stepped up in Puka's absence. So I'm sticking with Stafford. I think with a week of game planning for no Puka is going to go ahead and allow him to just be more settled and be ready to go in a game where I think that it is a little bit more competitive than last week. Stafford's still leading the league in yards and air yards. It doesn't matter. Stafford's chucking the damn thing. And he's also top 2 in deep balls, red zone attempts, and the pace of play. So the Rams are the Rams. Stafford is Stafford. I'm not going to shy away from that. I think he gets back on track with a lot of touchdowns this week against Jacksonville, who is a little bit more susceptible on in the air than they are on the ground. Jacksonville's giving up over 30 points per game to the wide receiver position. And they're more middle of the pack in terms of giving it up to the running back. So I think that the path to victory for the Rams is similar. The LA teams both just want to put the ball in the hands of their star quarterback. And I think that we see that happen here with the Rams. Dominic, you bought Terry super low this week and hoping to get him involved. That's a great buy low right there. Terry's been disappointed. I got Terry in my main home league, and it has been very disappointing. Luckily, I've had JSN kind of hold it down for me, but I'm hurting for Terry back, to say the least. So I'm right there with you, hoping that they get him involved and they get back on track there. In terms of my QB sit here, it's not even a sit. It's more of a temper the expectations a little bit, because we've seen Drake Maye. We've seen him perform very well when he gets the touchdowns, and we also saw him win a big game against Buffalo, but he didn't have the touchdown. So guess what? That was a QB 28 finish from Drake Maye that week. So that doesn't feel good to have that be in the range of outcomes. So it's a big, wide swinging floor and ceiling with Drake Maye. It really just depends on the touchdown. Sorry, QB 25 against Buffalo with 12 fantasy points. We've seen 2 games over 25 fantasy points, top 3 there. We've seen 2 other games over 20 fantasy points in the top 10. And then we've seen 2 games, 16 and 12, be outside of the top 15 quarterbacks. So we've seen a little bit of everything out of Drake Maye this week. He's looking good, I will say, but it's really the matchup that kind of has me tempering the expectations right now. He's listed as the QB 5 in the consensus rankings, and that's too high. I got him a little bit closer to QB 10 in my weekly rankings. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with him. It's not a full fade. I'm not saying you have to bench the guy, but it's a little bit too much, in my opinion, against Tennessee here, where, like I said, if he gets the touchdowns, he has a great week. But Tennessee doesn't really force the quarterbacks to get the touchdowns. It very much could be Ramondre has a week. We see Travion Henderson finally have a week. It could go either way. And also, I mean, the defense for Tennessee hasn't been bad. It hasn't been good, but it hasn't been bad. And again, we see it every time with these bad teams that fire a bad coach. We see the dead cat bounce for at least a game or two where they're fired up. They're like, this is new life being breathed into the locker room. The dark cloud is seemingly gone away for the time. So I think Tennessee comes out, especially against their former coach in Vrabel. So I'm a little bit hesitant with Drake Maye. Like I said, I'm not fading him. He's not outside my top 10. I just think he's more in the QB 7 to 8 range than he is the QB 3, 4, 5 range this week. Sorry, Alex. I know that I know you don't want to hear that. I know you're gonna come in here and hit me with that. He may have to run more this. I see what you did there with May. He may have to run more this week. He could. He very much could. So like I said, I'm not saying to sit Drake Maye. I'm not saying full fade. I'm just saying don't temper the expectations. Don't think that you got a locked in top 3 performance coming from Drake Maye. It could be closer to, like I said, I have him around like QB 8 or 9. 7 to 9 is where he's probably going to like settle for me here, just because we're missing some of the big QB names. But we could also see him fall out of the top 12 this week just because he's not needed. So really, like I said, just depends. Depends on the touchdown situation here with Drake Maye. Moving over to the running backs. Let me see if the running backs came over. I got a little bit of a shocker here. I feel like Woody Marks is going to be a start for me this week. He's dropped all the way down to the running back 33 in the consensus rankings, and I get that. He had the big week. He came back and disappointed and had a split opportunity share with Nick Chubb, but that was a blowout. And I think that this game against Seattle in Seattle is going to be a lot more competitive, and we're going to see a lot more passing out of Houston. And that means more Woody Marks. Woody Marks is the pass catching back. He's still out-snapped Nick Chubb even in the blowout. He just didn't quite get the same opportunities. So I think that we see the involvement from Marks in the passing game. And I think that it's going to be where we find this is going to be the middle ground type game that we see out of Marks. We saw the high ceiling on his blow up week. We saw the low floor in the game that he split with Nick Chubb. And I think we're going to get the Goldilocks just right. This is the right comfort bed. This is the right temperature porridge here game for Woody Marks. And to have him down at RB33 just feels a little too low for me. That's kind of fringy range. And I think you can feel a little bit more confident starting him. And also we see it all the time. We saw it with Chicago out of the bye week. Rookies always see a little bit of a bump up in opportunity following the bye week. And I think that we're going to see that with Houston here as well, with Woody Marks. They're coming out of the bye. They got a tough matchup here going into Seattle, and they're going to have to put up points to beat the Seahawks. And I think that Woody Marks is going to be very much involved in both phases. I think he's going to get a decent amount of carries, and he's also going to be very involved in the passing game here. Like I said, he still saw 7 carries to Chubb's 11. They only had 20 opportunities to running backs in the blowout against Baltimore. That was just not a game where they weren't needed. The starters got pulled. So I feel like it's tough to be prescriptive with that week 5 Houston-Baltimore game. So I'm looking more towards, in these competitive games, Marks is very much involved and very much in the passing game. So I think he's going to be slotting himself in regularly as an RB2 compared to the RB3 range that the back half RB3 range that they have him now in the consensus rankings. In terms of my sits, I actually brought 2 sits to you guys. I feel like I gotta bring back up the Cincinnati Bengals. They had some life this past week against Green Bay on the short Joe Flacco week. And there's people that are out there saying Bengals are all the way back. And I think that they are very much back, except for Chase Brown. Chase Brown ain't it. Chase Brown is, in the past 2 weeks, he has been losing snaps to Samaje Perine. The past 2 weeks have been a near 50-50 split in terms of snap share between the two. It was more 50-50, like 50-50, 55-45. But that's a lot more than at the beginning of the season, even when Brown was the quote-unquote top dog. He was still only at like a 65-70% snap share, and that has just been slowly ticking down. Perine has been sneaking in there, and then with Flacco last week, the new quarterback for the foreseeable future here this year in Cincinnati, we saw Samaje Perine not only get the 50-50 snap split, but the 50-50 opportunity split. That scares the hell out of me. We were told that Flacco loves to dump it off to the running backs, but that didn't happen, at least not with Chase Brown. So I'm a little bit worried about what we see tonight out of the Cincinnati Bengals backfield. I mean, Perine, three receptions, 3 targets, Chase Brown 2 targets. So yes, there were dump offs. No, it was not enough to feel confident. So I just think that that's kind of going to be the trend. And unless Chase Brown can finally like just do something out there, I think that we start to see this split happen here. Samaje Perine had 30% of the routes, and Chase Brown, let me take a look at what Chase Brown had in terms of routes, 30%, 30% to 40%. So Chase Brown did get more routes by a little bit, a couple more routes here from Chase Brown compared to Samaje Perine. But again, 3 targets to 2 targets in favor of Samaje Perine. Chase Brown right now is listed as the RB23 in the consensus rankings. That's why I'm bringing him up. He is in the RB2 range for the consensus rankings, and I don't want that. He is far, far away from any lineup that I have right now. And this is coming from the guy who was talking about Chase Brown RB1 overall in preseason. Obviously, that's a completely different Bengals team. That was a completely different Bengals fantasy world that we all lived in preseason. But even when Burrow was out there for the first game and a half, Chase Brown was not it, and he is continuing to not be it. So gross. RB23 is like he's not even getting the volume right now to justify being up that high. He's not getting volume. He's not efficient. This offensive line is garbage, and Flacco's going to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game. I'm out. For those reasons, I'm out. Like I said, I got a little bit of a bonus sit for you guys here in the running back category, and that is one that did not come over. Did it? Am I missing it? No, it did not come over. So my bonus sit is going to be Jordan Mason for the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, he's sitting at the RB21. So we got Chase Brown at RB23, Jordan Mason at RB21. And both these guys just feel like I don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole right now. Chase Brown very much further down for me. Jordan Mason's still probably in like high-end RB3 range for me. But people are going to sit here and think that Jordan Mason's got a decent matchup going up against the Philadelphia defense that just going up against the Philadelphia Eagles line that just gave up 3 touchdowns to 3 touchdowns to 3 touchdowns to Scatterboo. Sorry. Jordan Mason, people think he's going to have a good matchup going up against the Philadelphia Eagles defense that gave up 3 rushing touchdowns to Cam Scatterboo. I can get the words out. But that was with a late scratch for Jalen Carter, who is back at practice. A lot of the Philadelphia defense is starting to get healthier, so we could see them come back. We could see a little bit more of a stout defense out of Philly. So I'm just not confident. And it's not like Mason's been good. He had the one big game against Cincinnati. Does that mean anything? That's like saying that Jerry Jeudy got 13 targets from Dylan Gabriel. I don't care about that really in hindsight now, because in every other game, Jordan Mason has been pretty disappointing. And it's not, like I said, the efficiency metrics aren't there. He's not looking great. He is, we're saying he had like I said, the big game against Cincinnati, RB7, followed it up against Pittsburgh, which was a good matchup, RB 35 with 10 fantasy points. And then he fell into the end zone, thankfully saving any semblance of a decent day against Cleveland in week 5 before the bye to get you 12 fantasy points for RB 22 finish. And I think that if you need him to fall into the end zone to play him this week. And I don't know if they get that. I think we're going to, like I said, I think we're getting the Wentz revenge game. I think that that's going to be, they're going to run off of that. And it's going to be very much Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison kind of running the show here. Like I said, if he doesn't score the touchdown, you're feeling pretty gross. And he's only got 2 goal line carries on the entire season. Obviously, he's 1 for 2 on those. So 50%, but 2 goal line carries is bad. And he's not doing much outside of what the offensive line is giving him. And this offensive line is still banged up, hopefully healthier after the bye week. But he's number 52 in yards created, running back 52 in terms of yards created per touch. And he's not really making people miss. He's not breaking through tackles, only a 16.7 juke rate. That's RB 40 on the season, and 13 evaded tackles, which is RB 29 on the season. So it's very much just what's there he's getting and not much else. And in this matchup, I'm not really looking for that. Philly's lost 2 in a row. I just don't see them losing 3 in a row. So that is why I am giving you guys the bonus sit of Jordan Mason at RB21. Too high. Flipping over to the running backs, the wide receivers. Again, I feel like with some new information here, I got to come back to them. I got to come back to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I told you sit Chase Brown. So I'm not all the way back in on the Bengals, but I am very much back in on T. Higgins. Jamar Chase never left your lineup. You should have never benched him or been scared to play Jamar Chase. Obviously, you had to go through the duds, but the giant blow up trash garbage time games, they were sitting out there. We just were waiting on them. But with Joe Flacco, I think that we can get more of that for T. Higgins as well. It's not just going to be Chase and that's it. I think that we see T. Higgins start to emerge more here. And I think this is a good matchup for him on Thursday night. We saw Joe Flacco on the short week previously, peppered Chase and Higgins. 20 targets between the two guys, 12 for Chase, 8 for Higgins. Great. Love to see it. I think we're going to see even more tonight for T. Higgins. Per Ian Hartitz on he posted this on Twitter. The Steelers are running man coverage the third most in the league, and T. Higgins is earning a 31% targets per route run against man. T. Higgins is a man beater, and he's going to be getting the second corner here. He's going to be getting he's going to be getting Ramsey most likely here, who's been dealing with injury. So I think that T. Higgins just eats him up right now. And I think, again, the game plan for Cincinnati is clear. It's let Flacco throw the ball 40 to 50 times to Higgins, to Chase, to whoever is out there on the field. So very much excited to see T. Higgins revitalize himself. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that T. Higgins is back as a back end RB or wide receiver one at all, but I do think that he's going to be firmly in the wide receiver 2 range with Joe Flacco at the helm. Right now, he's listed as the wide receiver 32 by the consensus rankings, and that's too low. That's too low for me. I think that he's going to get the volume, and he's got the talent. He just needed decent passes to make it to him, and we're going to see those with Joe Flacco. Browning wasn't cutting it. Flacco can at least get the job done. So I'm excited for T. Higgins tonight. I think that he has a good week. On the flip side, I told everyone to start him last week, but I'm out this week. It's AJ Brown. I feel like a lot of my start sits are revolving around these middling games where it's like, could points be scored? Could they not? I don't know. And I feel like that's kind of where we need to get the information from, is in these tough calls, where am I standing? And that's what I'm bringing to you guys. AJ Brown listed as the wide receiver 21 by consensus rankings. That is, I think that he can get there, but AJ Brown makes his money, especially this year, on deep balls, on big broken plays where he's taking it to the house. He's going far. He's never really he's got the volume right now and is clearly not doing anything, but the big blow up games are always on a just deep ball to AJ Brown. And I don't think that that's going to happen against Minnesota here. It's in Minnesota. Minnesota's off the bye, so they've had a week to prepare for this game in terms of defensive game planning. And Minnesota is very high in terms of pressure rate. So while I think that isn't going to be a big issue for Jalen Hurts in terms of the fact that Hurts can just scramble and get out of it, I think that it's going to lead to more of the underneath stuff, the guys breaking free, like Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert type guys that are coming on the lower routes. And if AJ Brown doesn't get a deep shot, if he doesn't connect on a deep shot, you're going to be sorely disappointed. And I just, again, a full week and a half to plan for Philadelphia here from Minnesota just feels like we're set up for another disappointing offensive game for Philadelphia in general. I think if the way to attack Minnesota this year has very clearly been to run the ball. So I think we see a get right game for Saquon Barkley. We see Jalen Hurts do his scrambling, his tush pushes. And I think if there's a Philadelphia wide receiver who sees a more consistent game, it's going to be Devonta Smith. And I think we could see another Dallas Goedert game, honestly. The Minnesota Vikings are giving up 11 fantasy points per game to the tight end. And It sounds low, but in terms of it's very middle of the pack actually. In terms of the oh wait no, I'm looking at the I flipped that. No, yeah, no, I'm right. I'm right. Sorry, confused myself with my own spreadsheet. So yeah, Minnesota's giving up a decent amount to their middle of the pack in terms of tight ends there. So I think that it's another Goddard game. I think that we see Devonta Smith get a consistent like set of targets here, but I don't know if AJ Brown connects on that deep shot, and I don't feel confident plugging him in as a locked in wide receiver 2 right now. He feels more as a risky wide receiver 3 to me, which is just absurd to even be saying out loud about AJ Brown, but that's the state of Philadelphia right now. That's the state of the Philadelphia passing game. So looking to sit him. Going to be flipping over to the tight ends here. I got 2 starts. I felt it was really hard to find sits because outside of the top 4 guys, everything just kind of feels like wishy-washy right now. And there wasn't anyone that was ranked so high that I'm like, that feels crazy. Everyone felt very much like okay in terms of the tight end position. Similar with the quarterback position. I feel like my sit of Drake Maye isn't a sit. It's more of a temper expectations deal. And that's why I just couldn't find a tight end where I'm like, you got to bench this guy, because any of these guys could have a good game. Any of these guys could have a bad game. But these 2 guys that I'm going to be talking about are purely based on opportunity. I'm going to start off with Mason Taylor of the New York Jets. I think that Taylor, like I said, he had the Jets in general had just the worst game ever in London. But I think we see out of necessity that Mason Taylor's going to be fed here. He is probably arguably the number 1 option for Justin Fields coming in the passing game, at least coming into this week. We know that we're going to be without Garrett Wilson, and we saw Josh Reynolds. He popped up on the injury report and looking like he's going to miss this week as well. So who the hell, like Tyler Johnson is going to be the wide receiver 1 for Justin Fields. And I don't see Tyler Johnson commanding 10 plus targets like Mason Taylor already has as a rookie. So Mason Taylor is my start of the week. And it's a good matchup. Carolina's given up 14.5 fantasy points per game. That's the second most to tight ends. So I think that that if that's not part of the game plan, then the Jets are just committing another case of malpractice here in terms of NFL play calling and coaching. So I'm hoping to see the Jets kind of lock in on that, and Taylor, pure volume. I'm not feeling there might be touchdown upside, just like getting out of necessity for the fact that he's going to get so many targets. I don't see them not hammering Mason Taylor with targets this week, because again, who else do they have? It's going to be Brees. It's going to be Taylor. That's the formula doesn't change for the Jets. You still start the number 1 target. You still start the number 1 running back. And that's really it. In terms of Justin Fields, I think we see a bit of a bounce back here. I don't fully trust it, but I don't think we see what we saw against Denver. Carolina's defense is solid against quarterbacks, but it's kind of that data is skewed heavily from the one just abysmal game from Michael Penix Jr. All the other quarterbacks have had solid, not good, not great games against them. So I do think that we see a middling bounce back game from Justin Fields here, who might also just get it done with his legs. But I think they're going to have to throw the ball going up against this rushing attack of Carolina. So I'm fully expecting Mason Taylor to get the volume to make you feel good about starting him this week. My other tight end start is going to be on Monday Night Football, and it's Cade Otton. Again, straight volume based call here because of the fact that just who is left in Tampa Bay. We're seeing Johnson and Johnson rolled out there as the top 2 wide receivers, and Shepard being worked in there too. But it's really we've seen Otton kind of, after being invisible for this team, he has really stepped up in terms of targets. He's gone 4, 5, 6 the past 3 weeks. So it's been rising every week. He's on the field all the time. So it's not like he's not out there running routes. So I definitely think that we see another solid volume game here from Otton. I think we see maybe even more targets up to like 7 or 8, possibly pushing up to 10. But I mean, like I said, Otton's out there. He's running snaps. He's the tight end 5 in routes run. He's got an 87% route participation, also tight end 5. And the important thing is now with all these injuries, he's been running in the slot quite a bit. He's got a 35% slot rate, which is the tight end 2 on the season. So it's not like he's just being an inline blocker slipping out. They got him in the slot. They got him running these wide receiver like routes. So I think that we're going to start to see it come together here even more for Cade Otton against the Detroit Lions. Again, the defense is so beat up that like it doesn't matter if they brought people in. The Lions are going to be hurting on defense. And Baker and Otton can take advantage of that. For the defenses, this was another one. I feel like there's not a whole lot of big like concerning rankings where I'm like, oh, this is just like this guy's way too high, this guy's way too low. Same with the defenses. Like the tight ends and the defenses felt very chalky, which obviously means that the defenses are going to be completely flipped on what they're supposed to be doing. But from what I saw, I am going to be starting the Carolina Panthers versus Justin Fields. I know I said that Fields is probably going to have a bounce back middling game, but that's not a guarantee. We've seen Fields implode. The confidence seems rattled. And he's back to doing what he did with Chicago, which is holding the ball for too long. And Carolina's not bad in terms of pressure rate. They're not bad in terms of sacks. They've been doing they're a lot more, like, I don't want to say stout, but they're stronger than they were in previous seasons. And I think that this is just a good opportunity for Carolina to kind of be riding the high that they're riding a 2-game win streak. Are they at home or is this in New York? I think this is in New York. In New York. So it's in New York. So that's a little bit less makes me a little bit less happy there. But I think that there is a lot of sack potential and there's turnover potential here with those sacks and with just the lack of weapons on the New York Jets side. I'm not scared of the Jets putting up a crazy amount of points unless Breece Hall just goes off. That's the only way that New York is going to score is with Breece Hall going ham. And I'm just not sure that we see that. I think that I think that Carolina is set up to have a low point total and also get a decent amount of sacks in there. Like I said, we saw Fields take 9 sacks last week against Denver. So it doesn't have to be 9 sacks for you to be happy with Carolina's defense this week. On the flip side, this is another matchup that seems like it should be good. It's Miami at Cleveland, but I don't like. I'm not starting the Miami defense. I can't do it. Miami right now is the defense number 9 according to the consensus rankings, and there's defenses out there in like slightly worse matchups that I would prefer. I'd prefer Chicago Bears over that. I would prefer Carolina Panthers over the Miami Dolphins right now. So I'm not. Hell, I'd even probably start maybe even I can't do the Chargers. Jonathan Taylor can just absolutely smash. So probably the Panthers and the Bears, I would feel more confident starting over the Dolphins than I am the Dolphins going into Cleveland. We've seen what running backs and teams are doing to Miami, and it's just running the ball down their throat. I get it. Dylan Gabriel, bad. I'm not sitting here arguing that Gabriel is going to be carving up this secondary. That's not my argument. My argument very much lies on Kinshad Judkins and Jerome Ford just having their way with the Miami Dolphins. We saw Rico Dowdle 200 yards against Miami, and then last week we saw Kamani Vidal with 125 yards. So I think Judkins is a better running back than Rico and Vidal. So I 100% know that we're walking into the trap with this, but I just think that it's not in the cards right now. I think that Cleveland is going to put up points. They're at home. And it's just going to be, I don't know if Miami puts up enough points to keep the ball in Dylan Gabriel's hands. I think that it's very much going to be Judkins this week. So those are my defense starts and sits. Again, due to technical difficulties, I do not have my little little blurb at the top left for my espresso shot, but my espresso shot of week 7, Alex, look away. You're not going to like to hear me say this. Tez Johnson is a top 24 wide receiver this week. Hell, I'll even go top 20. I'll go even spicier. I keep saying I'm going to like cool it down, relax a little bit with these espresso shot hot takes, but cheers, bitches. I'm going Tez Johnson. He's going to get 2 touchdowns this week. Tez Johnson is going deep. He's beating the Lions secondary over the top, and I'm a Lions fan, guys. I'm a Lions fan. This isn't me just like sitting here. I'm not doomsdaying the Lions. The Lions are going to win the game, but Baker is going to get it done. MVP Baker Mayfield is going to do enough to have a fight and to make Tez Johnson a fantasy stud this week. He is the home run hitter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. He saw the most snaps for Tampa Bay after Igbokwe left. Sterling Shepard is going to be a non-factor underneath. The other Cameron Johnson is going to be fine as a possession type wide receiver. If you got a PPR league, Cameron Johnson, fine. But if you want the home run, if you want the big swing, if you want to win your week with a lotto ticket, Tez Johnson, count it. I'm calling it 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns, top 20 wide receiver, top 10. Hell, not top 10. Realistically, top 20 is the true call here. But Tez Johnson is my espresso shot of the week. It's spicy. It's hot. It's get the weekend going with that right there, with the espresso, with the caffeine, with the hype of Tez Johnson. That's my espresso shot. I'm 2 in a row. I've been 2 in a row with the espresso shots. I had the rough start to the season, and I'm finally hitting on these big swings here. So that's what I'm going with is Tez Johnson, 2 touchdowns, top 20 wide receiver this week. Jelly of the month. Good morning. We got a question here. Flex Gainwell tonight, PPR, or go to Bourne at 8:20 Sunday. Not sure who is playing San Francisco. You got a late pivot of Algier, Sharps, and Woody Marks. I'm going Kendrick Bourne. Like, even if Juwan Jennings plays, I don't care. Even if George Kittle plays, I don't care. Kendrick Bourne. I don't think that Jennings or Kittle see a full complement of snaps, and I think Mac Jones is going to be the quarterback for San Francisco. That's an easy one for me. Kendrick Bourne. If you do feel the need to pivot, like you said, you got a Woody Marks, you got a Charbonnet if you want a safer option. But I think that Kendrick Bourne is locked in with Mac Jones and is a very safe option. So I'm going Bourne over Gainwell tonight, easy. Gainwell, if he has a big game, it's going to surprise you a little bit. And we saw the snaps go back to Jaylen Warren. So I'm not banking on Gainwell right now, but I am banking on Kendrick Bourne. So go there. But guys, that is all that I have for you this week here on Wake and Take. Again, I am going to be going live Sunday night after the games. During the Sunday night football game, I will be going live over on TikTok at JOwensFF. And hopefully, barring any more technical difficulties, it'll also be on the Player Profiler TikTok page over there. I appreciate you guys as always for coming in. If you like the content, make sure that you are liking the video. Make sure that you're sharing it with your friends. Hey, you don't have to keep me all to yourselves. Go ahead and pass the videos around, pass the link around. I appreciate any and everything that I get from you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys make this fun for me on a weekly basis. So I appreciate you as always. Go ahead and follow the Player Profiler Now and Player Profiler pages on Twitter. It's at profiler_now. Also here on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed and getting the notifications to see me every Tuesday and Thursday, as well as the plethora of shows that we have on a weekly basis. Also be sure to follow me on TikTok over at JOwensFF, as well as on Twitter at JOwens_FF. I've been ramping up the content as we get along. I appreciate you guys. One quick little question here from Alex. Would I drop Coker for Tez? If you need a start this week, I would do it because Tez has a good matchup this week and he has a good matchup next week against New Orleans. So if you need an immediate plug, I would probably do that. If you're looking for more of a stash, stick with Coker. Appreciate you guys. I will catch you on Sunday over on TikTok for the Throne Room.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.